Yeah, I think we agree. I think we're, in compliance with them, with the league, and obviously there's no room or space in our.
And it looked like Scott, head coach Tyler Marsh, has confirmed there has been lies told about the Indiana Fever.
Indiana Fever head coach Tyler Marsh has addressed the swirling controversy, stating that the organization is fully cooperating with the league and that many of the rumors circulating simply aren't true. Meanwhile, Chicago Sky coach appeared stunned after Angel Reese reignited claims suggesting Fever fans are racist, an accusation that has sparked intense backlash online. Supporters of the Fever strongly deny the narrative, while critics argue the WNBA has seemed unusually critical of the franchise in recent months. Whether this situation is rooted in legitimate league concerns, emotional post-game reactions, or amplified social media chaos remains unclear. What's certain is that the drama has quickly grown beyond the court, fueling debate across the basketball world.
Yeah, obviously there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA and our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process. Obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us in this.
Even her head coach just went on record and said he didn't hear anything about harassment until we did. The exact time we did was when the WNBA stated that they was going to launch an investigation into the game. Now, if that is your head coach, he should have been the first person directed to know if there was hate speech or racist slurs said towards one.
The latest chapter of the WNBA spotlight has turned into pure spectacle, and once again Angel Reese is at the center of it. With cameras rolling and social media buzzing, Reese has accused Indiana Fever fans of racist behavior, an allegation that instantly ignited debate across the league's fan base. Fever supporters, many of whom insist they're simply passionate basketball fans, have pushed back hard against the claim, arguing that the narrative paints them unfairly. What could have remained a heated sports rivalry has instead spiraled into a broader cultural flashpoint, blurring the line between legitimate concerns and online theatrics. Whether this is a serious issue that requires league intervention or another example of modern sports drama amplified by social media depends largely on who you ask, but one thing is certain: the conversation has grown far bigger than the game itself.
Angel Reese today, and we heard from Tyler Marsh. Tyler Marsh, folks, let's send our best wishes to Tyler Marsh. He's about to be called every name under the book. Sellout, Uncle Tom, Coon, unless he starts backtracking like he's Darrell Revis in his prime, and he intercepts the hate like Dion said. Unless that happens, Tyler Marsh is about to get run out of...
How about this from the Chicago Sky coach? From Tyler Marsh, and he has essentially confirmed that what we all thought, that the allegations made were because of the flight react sound effect. The flight react sound effect is what happens because everyone thought, maybe there was something that like the players heard and they reported it. No.
First off, the claim that Indiana Fever fans are secretly harboring racist sentiments is one that many supporters find wildly exaggerated. The Fever fan base has largely been defined by its passion for basketball, its excitement around young stars like Caitlin Clark, and its fierce rivalry games, especially against teams like the Chicago Sky. For those fans, the energy in the arena is about competition, not culture wars. But when Angel Reese publicly suggests otherwise, it transforms a sports rivalry into a much bigger and more emotional debate. Critics argue that painting an entire fan base with a broad brush only escalates tensions, while supporters of Reese counter that athlete experiences shouldn't be dismissed outright. What started as hard-nosed basketball has now become a narrative battle, one fueled as much by social media amplification as by anything happening on the court.
Actually something newsworthy said today in regards to the alleged hateful fan comments made toward Angel Reese during the Fever and Sky game on Saturday, because the Sky actually gathered for practice today and they spoke and both the coach and Reese spoke. The more notable comments came from Tyler Marsh, the head coach of the
What's really happening here depends on who you ask, but the broader frustration isn't new. The WNBA has faced years of scrutiny over ratings, attendance, and overall presentation, with critics arguing that inconsistent offense, heavy officiating, and slower pace have hurt the entertainment value. Supporters counter that the league has actually seen meaningful growth in visibility and investment, especially with the arrival of high-profile stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and that the narrative of decline often ignores long-term progress. Where tension really builds is in the perception battle. Some fans feel that legitimate critiques about gameplay and marketing are brushed aside too quickly, while others believe conversations often spiral into bad faith attacks that go beyond basketball. When debates about ratings or style of play get mixed with accusations toward fan bases, such as those involving the Indiana Fever, it creates an us versus them dynamic that overshadows the sport itself. At the core, this isn't just about whistles or shot selection. It's about branding, growth strategy, and how a league balances accountability with advocacy. Blaming fans rarely builds loyalty, but dismissing player concerns outright doesn't help either. The real solution likely lies somewhere between sharper on-court execution, smarter marketing, and a cooler-headed public conversation that keeps the focus where it belongs: the game.
Anything. He's like, well, we just heard about what's going on. Like, he had no idea. He's just like, well, we just heard that this is happening. So no, they've confirmed this is because of Twitter. This is the most unserious league ever. Kathy Engelbert, you are like, this is embarrassing. And I don't even know if it's Kathy. There's no video proof. The players don't know what's going on. The coaches, like, we heard nothing. Both sets of players are like, we heard nothing. And it's a social media account that has now deleted their account.
From one perspective, the controversy says more about rivalry than conspiracy. When the Indiana Fever get rolling, especially with Caitlin Clark pushing the tempo and stretching defenses, their offense can look explosive. Against the Chicago Sky, that pace and spacing have at times exposed defensive gaps, which naturally leads to frustration fouls, hard closeouts, and chippy moments. That's not a grand plot. That's competitive basketball, AS for Angel Reese. Her style has always been emotional and high energy. Supporters see passion and fire. Critics see theatrics. The infamous foul you're referencing likely became symbolic not because of the contact itself, but because of what both fan bases projected onto it. In a heated rivalry, every whistle feels personal, every replay becomes slow-motion drama, and social media turns routine plays into headline material. In reality, most in-game fouls come down to positioning, timing, and pressure. If Indiana is attacking downhill and forcing rotations, defenders will be a half step late. That's basketball physics, not soap opera scripting. The bigger issue is how quickly competitive tension gets reframed as scandal. Instead of breaking down defensive schemes or transition coverage, the conversation shifts to outrage cycles and viral clips. Strip away the noise, and it's simpler. One team executed better in key stretches, the other struggled to adjust, and emotions boiled over. The rivalry is real. The intensity is real. The conspiracy? That part tends to grow louder the further it gets from the hardwood.
The truth has been told about the Chicago Sky, bro. Just like I told y'all days ago, bro. This whole thing was fabricated and it was a lie. I released footage on the sideline. I released several videos confirming that no one was targeted.
From a critical fan's point of view, the reaction felt bigger than the moment itself. What could have been just another whistle in a physical game instead became a flashpoint because Angel Reese wears her emotions openly. To supporters, that fire is part of what makes her compelling. To detractors, it can look like overstatement layered onto a routine sequence. In a tightly contested matchup, though, intensity is inevitable, especially in a rivalry setting. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever appeared focused on execution. With structured half-court sets and perimeter creation from Caitlin Clark, they leaned into spacing, tempo, and defensive discipline. When a team sticks to rotations, communicates on switches, and converts in transition, the scoreboard usually reflects it. That's less about narrative and more about fundamentals. The broader issue is how quickly competitive moments turn into symbolic battles. A standard foul, common in the WNBA and any professional league, can morph into a cultural debate once cameras and commentary amplify it. On the floor, though, Games are still decided the old-fashioned way: shot selection, defensive stops, and composure under pressure. Emotional reactions may grab headlines, but disciplined execution is what ultimately flips the numbers on the board.
Oh, how being silent is such a blessing. Such a blessing it is to be silent and have nobody being critical of you. All those Chicago Sky reporters, you guys are all, let's just call a spade here. You guys are all soft as Charmin. Shout out to Kobe, R.I.P. to the Mamba. Charmin soft. Hey, Angel, how is it like dealing with the environment of people calling you all those names? Oh, if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. Oh, Angel, how did it feel? How did you push through that? Oh, well, obviously it's hard to hear. Wait, did it happen to you, or did you not hear anything happen to you? That's very...
For some fans, the frustration isn't really about one foul or one loss. It's about the pattern they think they're seeing. When Angel Reese reacts strongly after a tough stretch or a defeat, critics interpret it as deflection rather than competitiveness. Supporters, on the other hand, view that same intensity as leadership and emotional investment. The gap between those interpretations is where most of the noise lives. When the Indiana Fever execute cleanly, moving the ball, defending with discipline, and capitalizing on mismatches, sometimes the simplest explanation really is that they played better. Basketball outcomes usually boil down to efficiency, rotations, shot quality, and late-game composure. Teams like the Chicago Sky don't lose because of cosmic alignment or grand narratives. They lose because of turnovers, missed rotations, or cold shooting stretches. The modern wrinkle is that today's athletes operate inside a 24/7 content ecosystem. Every quote becomes a clip. Every reaction becomes a storyline. In that environment, personality can start to overshadow performance, especially in the WNBA, where rivalries are magnified and fan bases are hyper-engaged. Some players lean into that spotlight. Some get burned by it. At the end of the day, though, relevance in professional sports isn't determined by social media battles. It's determined by consistency, growth, and winning basketball. Narratives rise and fall. Box scores stick.
Become aware when everyone else did. What does that indicate? That the Sky did not know or did not hear anything in real time or see anything in real time. So that makes the Sky, that makes the Fever, that makes me, that makes everyone I talk to who was in the arena, everyone else who has spoken from the arena. That makes no cameras, no cell phones. So far,
there's no doubt that moments like this create strong reactions. When a high-profile player such as Angel Reese responds emotionally after a loss, some fans interpret it as passion and authenticity, while others see it as deflection. That divide can quickly turn into a larger conversation about image, accountability, and leadership, especially in a league as closely watched right now as the WNBA. From a branding standpoint, perception matters. The league is in a pivotal growth phase, with increased national attention driven in part by stars like Caitlin Clark and rising rivalries, such as the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky matchups. In moments like these, fans often want to see composure, accountability, and focus on adjustments rather than narratives about officiating or external forces. That doesn't mean athletes can't speak candidly, but tone and timing shape public reception. At the same time, it's worth acknowledging that today's players operate under unprecedented scrutiny. Every post-game comment is clipped, replayed, debated, and sometimes distorted. Emotional reactions that might have faded in past eras now become defining storylines within minutes. The challenge for any emerging star is balancing authenticity with leadership presence. If this season is going to be transformative for the league, the spotlight ultimately needs to stay on execution, rivalries built on skill, and visible growth in team play. Drama may drive clicks in the short term, but sustained credibility comes from consistent performance and competitive excellence. In the long run, fans rally around winning basketball and accountability far more than controversy.
It is Angel Reese speaking about it like it's fact too. Angel Reese was like, "This is unacceptable, players. If it can happen, if this can happen to me, what's this? The allegation of this was an entire crowd chanting or making those animal noises at Angel Reese. And I'm sorry, that did not happen. If that did happen, ban every single Indiana Fever crowd or fan who was in the arena from ever attending again. Ban the entire crowd. Heck, make Indiana play every single game in an empty crowd, empty arena, if that happened. But it didn't happen.
Across the court, the Indiana Fever have been crafting a narrative built less on noise and more on execution. At the center is Caitlin Clark, whose impact has extended far beyond typical rookie hype. Her scoring range alone commands defensive schemes to stretch to uncomfortable limits, but it's her overall command of tempo that truly separates her. She reads the floor like a veteran, manipulating spacing, drawing help defenders, and delivering passes that arrive a split second before the defense even realizes it's compromised. Clark's shooting range forces opponents to guard several feet beyond the arc, warping traditional coverage. Blink, and she's launching from logo distance with the kind of confidence that changes momentum in an instant. Yet it's not just deep threes, it's the transition pull-ups, the quick-hit skip passes, the ability to accelerate and decelerate defenders into awkward angles. That blend of pace and precision gives Indiana an offensive geometry that feels modern and aggressive. Equally important is her composure. While games around her can get emotional and physical, she often appears locked into reads and adjustments rather than reactions. That steadiness translates into leadership, even as a young player. It's part of why the Fever's growth feels structural rather than accidental. They're building habits around spacing, ball movement, and defensive accountability. In a league where visibility is expanding rapidly, performances like hers don't just fill highlight reels, they shift expectations. The blueprint becomes about pace, range, and playmaking versatility. Whether one views it as evolution or revolution, the result is the same: attention earned through execution, not demanded through theatrics.
Angel Reese. Angel Reese, the WNBA came out and got ahead of any type of wrongdoing and are starting their own investigation. Can you please tell us what was said? Angel, can you please tell us what the fans said to you? Angel, can you please tell us what you heard when you were sitting at the check-in table? Angel, when you were acting like a complete unhinged lunatic, can you please tell us what the families of four were screaming at you from the stands? Oh, that's very interesting. I'm going to assume that this is a whole entire hoax. Is it not, Angel? Angel, do you think the WNBA is the most unserious basketball league in the history?
A solo act, and that's what makes the recent stretch from the Indiana Fever feel sustainable rather than flashy. Yes, Caitlin Clark bends defenses with her range and playmaking, but rhythm like this only happens when the entire rotation is locked in. Crisp weak side cuts, timely screens, disciplined closeouts. Those are team habits, not highlight luck. When a roster trusts the extra pass and rotates on a string defensively, the chemistry can look almost telepathic. That's not theatrics. That's repetition, and by dash and by contrast, the Chicago Sky have had nights where their offensive flow stalls and defensive communication breaks down. That doesn't mean they lack talent. It usually signals timing issues, spacing problems, or late rotations that compound over 4 quarters. In this league, a few possessions of hesitation can snowball quickly, especially against a team playing downhill with confidence. As for Angel Reese, emotions run hot in rivalry games, and that intensity can either galvanize a group or distract from adjustments. The broader reality is that the WNBA is evolving rapidly. Pace is increasing, perimeter shooting is stretching schemes, and fans are gravitating toward teams that combine flair with structure. Spotlights shift fast in professional sports. They tend to settle not on who talks the loudest, but on who executes the cleanest when the game tightens. Right now, the conversation is being driven by cohesion, confidence, and results.
After opening the season with a triple-double, she then dropped 27-11 with 5 boards and 2 steals. That is a problem, but it doesn't end there. So remember how last game, how she tied the third-place player for the most triple-doubles in WNBA history, right? Now she has the most 25 and 10-plus games in WNBA history already. But trust me, I'm not even done yet. So Caitlin Clark now tied Courtney Vandersloot for the most 20 and 10 games. Vandersloot took 430. Diana took 565. It's taking Caitlin 42.
While Angel Reese seems focused on creating a narrative about racism that comes off more like a publicity stunt than a real issue, the real story is being completely overlooked. The Indiana Fever didn't just show up, they dominated, blending skill, grit, and pure hustle to hand the Chicago Sky a reality check. This wasn't about politics, social agendas, or referees. It was about basketball, real, tough, competitive basketball. The Fever brought intensity, cohesion, and a winning mindset, while the Sky seemed bogged down by excuses. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: no amount of finger-pointing or performative outrage can change the scoreboard. Perhaps Angel Reese is onto something, but in a completely backwards way. If the WNBA wants to grow its fan base, it should focus less on off-court drama and more on teams that deliver results. Fans want stars who lead through action, not tantrums disguised as activism. There's a big difference between standing for something and using controversy to stay in the headlines.
A basketball player than Angel Reese.
But you know what's crazy? Because I don't.
But Angel Reese is a good player, but they just play two different positions. Like, it's not even the same type of game.
But there's always a conversation about, y'all don't see that? About who's better out of the two ladies, Caitlin or Angel Reese? I always thought.
I
don't see that conversation anymore.
Okay, not anymore, right? But in the
it.
beginning, yes. And I actually started to watch some of the clips because I wanted to determine for myself. And then I was like, oh, Caitlin is obviously really a great player. I don't know why they even have the conversation.
The WNBA has immense potential, overflowing with talent that's raw, refined, and ready to redefine the game. From rookies igniting fresh energy to veterans anchoring their teams, the athleticism and skill are undeniable. The foundation is strong, the fan base is growing, and the appetite for women's basketball has never been higher. Yet, if the spotlight keeps getting pulled away by sideshows and drama, that momentum could vanish as quickly as a fast break. Instead of celebrating highlight reels, the conversation often revolves around post-game theatrics, social media spats, and players more focused on stirring controversy than victories. The league needs real leaders, athletes with purpose who inspire the next generation through their performance on the court, not just their words off it. Stars who grind, compete, and show up ready to battle every night are the ones who will truly grow the WNBA, rising above the noise instead of adding to it, while those chasing headlines or playing victim risk holding the league back.
Caitlin Clark said, "No layups in my house," and sent Angel Reese flying like it was a Southwest commercial. That flop had Academy Award winner written all over it. But the refs really looked at that and said, yep, that's definitely murder, and gave Caitlin a flagrant like she pulled a knife out mid-play. And Angel tried to run up on her and said, "You're crazy as fuck. What the fuck are you doing?" And Caitlin's all like, "This is just basketball. It's either a layup or free throws. Pick one."
It's just a good take foul, you know? If either Angel gets wide open 2 points or, we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
And just like that, Caitlin Clark dropped a triple-double, won by 35, and packed Angel's bags for her. Ice in the veins and apparently...
Take Indiana, for example. They didn't just bring intensity, they brought the fever, the kind of energy and hustle that ignites arenas and silences doubters. That's how you earn respect and build a fan base, not by complaining about tough competition or blaming others when the scoreboard isn't in your favor. If Angel Reese can't handle a little heat, maybe it's time to step aside, because on the hardwood, she's starting to look out of her depth. Confidence is admirable until it tips into delusion, and talking the talk only counts if you back it up with more than fouls and finger-pointing. To the Chicago Sky coach puzzled by Reese's comments about Indiana's fans, if you think the problem is in the stands rather than on the court, you're missing the point entirely. The scoreboard doesn't care about excuses, and the scoreboard never lies.